Hello, everyone, and welcome. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Oh, I need to mute myself. Fuck. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Gehenna Academy Season 1 recap. I was trying to set up so the intro would play that we've done every time we've ran an episode, but I guess I must have disconnected. So you know what? You learn and you try to do these like things called house cleaning, and sometimes it just doesn't work out the way you want it to. But it's good to see everyone's face, and by face I mean text box. And keep on chatting here. We're gonna be here. I am joined by an amazing special guest, and we're gonna have so much fun today as we take this shorter than usual stream in order to recap season 1 of Gehenna Academy.
Absolutely. Very excited.
To introduce ourselves, I'll let my special guest go first. Please tell them. Or...
Hi, everyone. So I'm Leslie Wombat. You can find me on Twitter at Leslie Wombat, on Twitch. And yeah, I'm on Carrying Comfort Studios a lot. I do Comfort Sickle over there. But yeah, and I'm a huge fan of Gehenna Academy. So very excited to talk about this.
Awesome. Oh, the opening almost played by itself. Don't do that, please.
Oh, it is. It's playing.
Okay, we're good, but don't worry about it. I stopped it. We'll do that for just a second. And for everyone out there that doesn't know me, or maybe has forgot my name, or maybe just wants to hear me talk, my name is Nick Francia. I'm the storyteller, or the master of ceremonies, MC of Gehenna Academy, as well as the stream producer over here at Gehenna Gaming, a lead of marketing and video production here for Gehenna Gaming. I also work over on Carrying Comfort Studios as well. I have a lot of fun doing both things, and yeah, I'm very excited. I took a little bit of break from streaming for the past couple of weeks, but my mind was cooking up ideas, and I'm really glad to be back with Gehenna Academy Season 2, as well as a bunch of other stuff I just announced on my Twitter. And for anyone there that's not following, you can follow me at Nobleman Nick, and you can follow Leslie here, Leslie Everett, who actually put your real name this time on the ad instead of Leslie Wombat, at Leslie Wombat.
Y'all usually call me Leslie Wombat, so I just kind of roll with it.
It's fine, you know. You got like two identities, which I like. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop the tweets right there. Nobleman Nick and Leslie Wombat. Boom. You can follow those both on Twitter. And you should, because if you don't want to follow me, at least follow Leslie. She's amazing.
You should probably follow both of us. We're both just here to like shitpost and talk about anime. So
yes,
come catch us talking about Evangelion way too much.
Yes, come hang out. Come hang out, Destin indeed. And before we get this started, I'm gonna go ahead and play that intro opening over, just to everyone refresh, because I wanted to. And yeah, we'll see you in just a second. And then, of course, it's not going to play.
My fingers are crossed, if that's helpful.
Hey everyone, we are back. Glad we were able to play that opening, and I think it's time to dive right into it. What do you think, Leslie?
Sure, yeah, let's go for it.
All right, before we begin the recap, or anyway, to start the recap, really we got to go back to the complete beginning and introduce the 5 characters that set the stage for Gehenna Academy Season 1. And we're going to alternate a bit here, and I'm going to let Leslie go first because she's the guest. And in our house, we let the guest go first.
Perfect. So first character we have is Isaac Fernandez, the Queen. King of the school, has a gang pretty much against everyone, a powerful magician yearning for his dead girlfriend.
Then we have Chandra Singh Kapoor, aka Neil, who's the ghost. Dead and hung in a burning carnival after forbidden romance with a man named Travis. Haunts the abandoned upper floors, yearns for life and purpose in his own life.
We had Arden Fitcher, the Worm. Dealmaker, manipulator, comes from a stolen lineage, sees other as currency, but the new girl is a treasure.
Melody the Fae. Fae ambassador, quirky and mysterious, unsure of this boring mortal world, wants to see the most of it.
And finally, we have Ivy Valencia, the neighbor. New girl transferred a few weeks ago. Rooms with an odd fae, accident prone, inherently mortal?
Who knows?
You know.
We'll get into that.
Maybe.
In just a second. All right, and we're going to go through every episode and just highlight some of the bigger parts, that happened. This is not going to be a super concept breakdown of every episode. You do have 1 week until the premiere of Gehenna Academy Season 2. If you would like to, you are totally able to watch every episode of Gehenna Academy on Gehenna Gaming's YouTube. And you know what? Before we even begin, I'm going to go ahead and link that YouTube in the description below, in the chat. As well as we have a unique special playlist that you can just literally go through if you want to watch everything in one go. Warning, each episode is about 2.5 to 3 hours long. So if you haven't watched a single episode and you're wanting to get caught up, probably might be the time to start right after here.
Definitely the time.
Or you
go
could
consume that.
Yeah, or you could just watch this recap. You'll learn all the important information here, and then maybe in your spare time if you want to watch it, you can. But I understand. Sometimes you just want to go right with the new and leave off the old. So we'll go ahead and do you want to take episode 1 or should I take episode 1, Leslie? What do you want to do?
I don't have a preference. I'm always indifferent. You know how I am.
Okay, I'll go ahead and set the stage for episode 1. I'll take the reins here and you can follow.
Sounds great.
So in episode 1, we open up with our group all kind of together in the class for magical practicing, as we're introduced to Professor Astoria Gray, who teaches the class about the importance of keeping everything a secret, the idea of the Inquisition, how the mortals kind of persecuted all the supernaturals, and kind of shows off Gehenna Academy as this kind of like school that's all self-contained in itself, secret to everyone, protecting everyone from the outside. That whole bit, kind of like the X-Men, right?
Absolutely. Got to keep those kids safe.
Isaac seeks a forbidden tome of knowledge in order to learn how to resurrect his dead girlfriend. But on the other hand, Melody also seeks the forbidden knowledge after learning that she could use the tome to possibly summon a hellhound. She still hasn't gotten one since the end of season 1, so maybe that's something she'll have to work on a little bit later. Isaac also seeks to ally himself with Yone, another Fae, or Yon, in order to get this substance called Dreamgrass, which is basically like Fae Realm weed. But Yone's good old pal Lucas, kind of his enforcer, stands in his way. As then we have Arden, who kind of open up on them, and they're kind of tailing Ivy and really obsessed with Ivy, the new girl, trying to add her to her collection, because that's what worms do. They make deals and they collect treasures. Melody, on the other hand, is trying to kind of learn how everything is done in the world of the mortal. It's not as quirky, and it's kind of gray and a little bit sad. But something that brightens her day is she is asked by the handsome gentleman, classmate Mercutio, to carry his number on the day of skirmish. That's in 2 days. Special sporting event that we'll get to in a later episode. And Melody doesn't really know the significance of carrying one's number, like the whole wearing their jacket, but she agrees because Mercutio is nice enough. Neil makes a scene in class by arguing with Astoria. Astoria being all grim and glum is not something Neil likes, and meets Samir, who's an oracle and has visions of horrible things to come. Ivy wanders about, crushes on, and still crushing on Isaac since their last off-screen encounter, and has an odd roommate with her roommate Yone. And then kind of ending the episode, Arden kind of wandering about, tunes into the soul of the school and follows it. As the school wants to show Arden off, wants to show Arden something that it's found. And at the Braille of Treadcrumb, at the trail of breadcrumbs ends up being a body hanging from the astronomy tower. This body, it's Yone. And that's where we closed episode 1. Hang from the gallows.
Definitely an ending to an episode. Your first episode.
Yes.
So episode 2, of course, kicks off with the school going into lockdown, because you're going to try and figure out who could have done this or what could have happened that a student has ended up dead. So I feel like I said that weird, but that's okay. And it turns out that Yone was found to be killed with cold iron and then hung. So, always suspicious. Yone was a prince of the Fae, and because of this, the Nightmare Fae have invaded in order to find the culprit. Each of the characters go through their own personal hell attempting to withstand the invasion of the Nightmarish Fae. Mercutio and Melody flirt and eventually end up in bed together. Melody is unaffected by being a Fae. Her and Mercutio are protected, and they tease a relationship but decide to keep everything casual for now. Classmates,
Yanni.
Okay, Yanni. I was like, I've never seen this word typed out before. Yanni the succubus, Victoria the vampire, and Kaya the witch kidnap and tie up Isaac, believing him to be the killer. Victoria drinks some of Isaac's blood for nefarious purposes, of course. That's usually why you drink people's blood.
Yeah.
And then Victoria and Kaya search Isaac's head, but don't seem to find any evidence, so they end up letting Isaac go. Arden gets close to Ivy and attempt to throw blame onto Isaac. Neil strikes a deal after meeting the Nightmare Fae that he'll find the killer or the Fae will take everyone.
And that ends episode 2, Phantasmagoria. Definitely kind of an intense 2 episodes to start us off, where you've kind of left the drama and the norm a bit of school in order to get right into it. And as Chris could probably tell you, because he's in the chat, Isaac has never lets that go for the entirety of the rest of the season. What transpires? I
don't know if I would let that go either, gonna be real.
Yeah, but it's like getting tied up and, judged by your classmates.
Right. Something I might also not let go of. But
the bad times, they're rolling, but you kind of have to take a break every once in a while, and that's kind of what leads us into episode 3. The group heads into town for some much needed downtime. The town that is Gehenna Valley, that is the kind of connecting bit of all our Monsterhearts universes. But as always, things don't go as planned, but some stuff does go. I mean, Kaya and Arden give Ivy a makeover and kind of, do the whole she's all that thing to Ivy. Melody and Mercutio expand their newfound casual relationship by just kind of hooking up with random people. And, and Melody's kind of navigating what it means to be in a relationship with someone, or entanglement with them. I think that was the word we used back in 2020, and I'm going to bring that word back now. Isaac keeps his distance, of course, but is attempting to track down the connection with Yone and Lucas now that Yone has been. Neil, on the other hand, just wants to hang out with Samir, and he wants to make that sweet person his partner. And the idea was everyone gets ice cream, but things kind of quickly sour because Isaac gets sent up in the mix, and everyone begins to argue about how they don't like Isaac, or how maybe they're being too hard on Isaac, and people just don't trust each other. Because that's what Monsterhearts is. It's keeping everyone away, everyone just a bit away from each other because you don't want to be vulnerable.
Absolutely.
And talking about reasons why you don't want to be vulnerable, Arden kind of tries to make themselves a little vulnerable and makes a move on Ivy, but Ivy rejects Arden. This, of course, doesn't lead to good consequences, as Arden gets angry and tries to keep Ivy there and kind of claim some sort of ownership over Ivy until Melody interferes. And thank you for that sub for that 9 month in a row. You are beautiful. Thank you, Twin Dad. Twitch is amazing, as I know you by name, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
To you as well. And to Glitch on Twitch for subscribing for 13 months. Fuck yeah.
Oh, cool. Thanks, Glitch.
That's some good shit. And let me see if I missed anyone else. Nope, I think we're good, but I just want to come in, and I appreciate you all. As Neil and Samir kind of get a little bit closer and the relationship blossoms, the threat of the killer kind of hangs heavy on all of them. It's kind of a very sour mood. But at the end of the day, we get some sort of resolution with the Isaac plotline. As Isaac and Ivy talk, they're attracted to one another, but Isaac's own stubbornness and Ivy's own awkwardness kind of keep them away. Their own convictions kind of acting against one another. Isaac finds out he needs to read the rest of the tome in the actual realm of the Fae in order to kind of uncover the secret components for the resurrection ritual. What's a queen to do? And that ends episode 3, Queen's Gambit.
Cool. Then we go into episode 4, where Ivy meets up with Victoria and Nikki and goes to a bar, the same bar that Isaac has infiltrated. Jaya. Names are hard for me today. I apologize.
No worries.
I might have drank a lot last night. Jay, another classmate, drinks heavily in the corner but goes unnoticed. Arden toils in pseudo heartbreak and plots their revenge, as you do. Neil decides the town, like anything else, has a shadow over it and decides to go back to the academy. Hannah, a student, and Lucas fight in the back room of the bar. Isaac sees Lucas take something and seriously injure Hannah. Confronting Lucas, Isaac finds out he's taking Fae blood, specifically Yone's blood, and discovers that Victoria and Yone were planning a little drug empire alongside Mercutio. Always a good idea. Melody asks Mercutio to feed on her, but he refuses. The properties of Fae blood are addictive, and Mercutio doesn't know if he can resist.
Yep.
Listen, dangerous game.
Yeah, it's a dangerous game you play with the Fae. You can't make promises, you can't drink their blood. What can you do?
Hold them at arm's length. 100%. Neil finds Jay at the place of Yone's death. The toils of both their trauma on their mind. Revealed to be an angel, Jay tells Neil that he loved Yone, but was unsure if Yone ever felt the same way. Jay departs this world looking to find and usher Yone to the next world onward. And that wraps up episode 4, Blood of My Blood.
I fucking love these titles. Who came up with this? I don't know.
Who could have?
They deserve a raise.
Wait, I think I have to point this way. I think I'm mirrored.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. It's weird because I want to look at your screen here, but you're not there. So I have to like look. I basically talk in my corner, which probably they think I'm a madman, wild, crazy person for that. But whatever.
No, I totally get it. Cause again, you're over here.
Yeah, it's just the way streaming works. People don't understand that, but that's okay. And we'll kind of get into some extras after the recap is done. Episode 5 begins as Neil begins to see the invading influence of the Fae realm, as kind of he's realizing the two planes are starting to interlock together, and the timer ticks down to the Nightmare Fae returns. However, investigating serial killers will have to wait, or not a serial killer, only killed the person only killed one person. Investigating killers have to wait because it's skirmish, where teams compete against each other in a showing against other school teams for school honor and pride. Aptly named, I believe episode 5 is not named Pride. That is the next episode. My apologies. So Kai kind of gives in, saying that Hannah's jacket has been left on the front of their dorm, and gives Ivy's Hannah jacket, since apparently the note that was left in it is that Hannah wants to Hannah's injured because of what happened in the last episode and wants Ivy to wear her jacket in her honor. Whether this has romantic connotations, we never really find out, but Hannah's just kind of a cool person, so we stand Hannah in this house. Melody decides to wear Mercutio's number and kind of learns about the significance of wearing someone's number, and Melody wonders, is she in love? I'm gonna ask you a question, Leslie. Have you ever been asked to wear a varsity jacket in your high school career or college career?
Yeah, I have. Yeah,
really?
In high school. Yep.
How'd that go for you?
It went fine. I don't know. I wore a basketball player's jacket. Yeah. We didn't date very long. It was very brief. And it was fine. It was very awkward and uncomfortable when we broke up.
Oh, you know what? Most high school romances are. But that's just kind of the deal, right? It's like if you wear someone's jacket, it's pretty much a confession at that point.
Oh, absolutely. You're like together.
Yeah.
Like that's what's happening.
But Melody's not immortal, so she's not gonna notice all this kind of going down, as it were. So the other teams do show up. The other team does show up. It's demon students from another world, coached by Azazel, father of Reese, another student within Gehenna Academy. Azazel's a total dick and a misogynist. No one likes Azazel.
What?
Yeah, Azazel tells Neil, not only does Azazel kind of reveal that Neil's a ghost to like all his friends around him, he kind of hints cryptically that Neil's heritage runs strong in the academy, and kind of leaves Neil with more questions than answers. Ivy is chosen as Hannah's replacement to kind of lead everyone in skirmish. Ivy's surprised, but it's showing that because Ivy wore Hannah's jacket, you've accepted the terms to kind of join this little death game, which Ivy does not want to participate into. So there goes to show you folks, don't watch or don't wear someone's jacket if you're not prepared to go to death for them.
You know, if I had realized that was part of the terms when I wore that basketball shirt, I probably, or the varsity jacket for that basketball player, probably wouldn't have worn it. I was good at basketball, but I couldn't compete in like men's basketball.
No,
so,
definitely not for sure.
No, I'm not that tall.
I've gotten requests to turn down the music a little bit. Apologies, everyone. I like music.
Okay. Same.
But kind of getting back into it, you know, Ivy's got a team. She's got people like Reese, like Tyler, aka Ty Money, and a potential new love interest, ghoul named Jaime. And they all kind of assure it'll be fine. Neil watches in horror and tries to get Ivy out of it. Melody discovers that, due to Isaac, Mercutio has been dabbling in Fey blood and kind of runs off to confront him. It doesn't really reveal the results Melody's looking for, though, with Mercutio promising to explain himself later. Melody and Neil kind of team up and begin to narrow their investigation on the invading influence, as Isaac discovers what he needs for the resurrection ritual. Well, most of it. He still needs to read the book in the Fey realm, and he's hoping Melody will help him get there. Arden discovers that they're becoming more dragon-like after waking up with scales and even hardened claws, and goes to Dean Saeed, who kind of instructs Arden that they're becoming a true dragon, and also reveals that their lineage together is connected. Lucas admits, after Isaac finds them, that Victoria has been pressuring him to turn over everything he has on Yoni. And, you know, maybe we see that Lucas is trying to write things for the better. But that whistleblowing doesn't last for long, as only a few scenes later, Arden and Isaac discover Lucas's body covered in flowers. And of course dead. That's why I said body. Arden screams as they did with the first body, and Isaac flees into the Fey realm, determined to find his answers and also not to get branded as the killer a second time around. Because you talk to two people, you talk to the first person, they die. You talk to the second person, they die. There's gonna be a pattern people are gonna start to notice, and that kind of
absolutely,
yeah, absolutely indeed. And that ends chapter 5, Bury a Friend. Which, that's the friend. That's who is buried.
Absolutely.
So I think for episode 6 and 7, I think we should take both of them.
I'll take both of them, and you'll wrap up our penultimates, our like finales, or like the lead ups. Okay, I'll do 6 and 7 then. Cool. So episode 6, the aftermath of Lucas's murder is handled as the school goes in high alert. I think that's usually what you do.
Yeah,
the death of students.
A second student.
Second student dead. Maybe go into high alert. Maybe be a little worried. Might be time. Dean Saeed tells Arden to protect themselves and cut ties with the others. Dragon be like that. Isaac dives into the realm of the Fae and stumbles into a world of strange and beautiful plants. In the realm of the Fae, Isaac meets Melchior, the Fae King, and Yone's father. Melchior is concerned with Isaac's intensity and doesn't pay much time to Yone's death. He tells Isaac how the ritual Isaac seeks requires a living sacrifice.
They always do.
Very common when you're trying to resurrect someone is usually you have to kind of,
yeah,
give and take kind of thing.
Yeah, Full Metal Alchemist told me about this. There must be, what is it, equal
exchange?
That's the law of equal exchange. They say in the beginning of every fucking episode.
I don't remember. I did love Full Metal Alchemist, though.
Full Metal Alchemist.
Full Metal Alchemist. I lost my spot. Melchior tells Isaac that the Nightmare Fae are coming for them very soon and that someone planted Hannah's jacket onto Ivy. Melchior tells Isaac that he'll need to unite with everyone to save the Academy. Very noble. Melchior strikes a deal with... No, there has to be a deal. Duh. Melchior strikes a deal with Isaac, telling him to bring back Victoria as she has been evading a deal they made a long time ago. We said it. Don't make deals with the Fae and leave them open. That's a bad idea.
That's how you get to what happens to Victoria later on.
Absolutely. Melody gives Ivy her blood in order to help with skirmish. The blood unlocks a latent ability in Ivy as she begins kicking ass and taking names. She even helps and kills a demon, ushering her team to victory, which is always very fun. Neil and Arden meet and talk about their priorities and their investigation into the murders. They have a heart-to-heart as they believe a ritual may be afoot to complete what the killer is planning. Always good when a killer has a ritual.
Oh yeah. Gotta always mess with their plans.
The planes are bleeding together, not from the world of the Fae, but from the world of the dead as well. Neil meets a phantasmal of Yone who tells him he has all the pieces. Arden gets to see the circumstances of Neil's death, but is left stranded in the realm of the dead when the planes shift again, and Neil is invisible to everyone. Victoria continues to strengthen her hold among the school. Melody and Mercutio talk once more as Mercutio tells Melody about a secret club himself, Yone, Victoria, Lucas, Samir, and Professor Gray had. He believes he is going to die next. Samir attempts to find Yone's spirit, but can't. Something is wrong as Neil watches onward, trying to find a way back. And that was episode 6, Pride. Lots going on. Very, very dramatic.
Oh yeah, that was this season start to finish.
So I'll continue with episode 7 then. Arden wanders the realm of the dead and meets a young girl who is actually a Reaper, or emissary of the dead. She warns Arden that Gehenna Academy is about to be the site of several deaths. Arden meets with Lucas, who is in the realm of the dead. Lucas tells Arden that they're being punished for something that they did. Isaac turns to the idea of murdering someone for a living soul. Isaac's gang tells Isaac he's going down a potentially dangerous path. You know, maybe, considering murder might be a dangerous path. Melody meets with Victoria, and the vitriol between them is apparent. Palpable. That's the word I was looking for.
Wine.
Melody agrees to team up with Isaac in order to bring Victoria back to the Fae realm. The team celebrates with Ivy, and Reese celebrates by kissing Ivy in front of everybody, and the team agrees to party later. As you do. When you win the big game, you party.
Yeah,
it's what you do.
It's just how it goes.
Absolutely. Neil and Samir connect as Neil has a vision of his lover Travis, who visits Neil's grave, as it is revealed that, inspired by Neil's life and death, started the Academy in order to give people like them a home to be safe in.
And the origin of Gehenna Academy is established in Neil.
Absolutely. Neil comes back and Samir is able to see Neil again. Samir, disheartened, explains to Neil that they accidentally unleashed a dark entity from the caverns beneath Gehenna Academy. The entity is now hunting them, as in the rest of the club. The caverns are actually magical prisons for those deemed too dangerous to exist in this world. Love when you keep your demons in the basement.
I just want to apologize there for the notes that I read. I write chicken scratch, and I am sorry.
We're making it through.
I'm so proud of you.
I'm proud of you. No, you.
No, you.
No, you.
No, you.
You.
No, you.
You're over there.
You know what? I'm gonna switch the frames because I feel like that would just fix our problems, right? If we just if
we flip flopped.
Yeah.
You don't have to switch the frames. We're fine.
No, I'm already doing it. It's already done.
Okay. If you say so.
I know so much.
Samir, disheartened, attempts to end his own life in guilt and fear of the pain that is about to come. The emissary tells Arden to find Ivy, that she is important to stopping all of this, and that Ivy doesn't know who she truly is. The emissary sends Arden back alongside a black box that will be used to restore Ivy's power. Very exciting. Melody and Isaac find Victoria drugged out of her mind in a bathtub.
As one does.
They decide to kidnap her and bring her to Ivy's room where everyone loses their mind. Listen, baths are great. I am team bath. Just relax and hang out. It's a good time.
And be drugged out.
Why not?
Why not?
Whatever makes you happy, everyone.
It's how we get through the day, apparently.
Arden gives the black box to Ivy, which unlocks her true ability as a Reaper. Reese attempts to get Ivy to come to the party, but Neil yells at him, and they get into an altercation, which results in Reese getting mentally traumatized and almost burns the Academy down with his demonic powers.
Oh, Neil.
Happens to the best of us.
Always inflicting people with their worst fears. Yep. Hashtag relatable.
I'm not going to hashtag relatable that one. No? I'm not good at that.
Well, I'm just going to say I love that for Reese.
You love that for Reese? Almost burning down the school?
Yeah, I love that for him.
Fey blood is revealed to be the only defense against this dark entity that as Nikki's remains are found. Oh, so the Fey blood is the only defense against the dark entity, and as we find that out, we also find Nikki's body, which is always a good sign. Always love finding more bodies.
Yep.
Victoria escapes in the chaos, and Ivy, searching for Victoria, sees in her mind a vision of Victoria mortally wounding Mercutio and taking his Fey blood vial. Always good. Also very good. Love when the bad person gets the Fey blood. The end of the episode reveals that Kaya has been hunting the club the entire time, apparently. And that is where we wrap on episode 7, Painted Black.
Opening right up with episode 8, as I'll take the last 3 episodes. Isaac bestows Ivy with a magical weapon in order to hunt down the killer. And they argue a little bit, Ivy and Isaac, about what Isaac's intentions are, what's his game plan, and why won't he just settle down and just help everyone out and be a team player. Melody rushes to Mercutio's side with Arden and Neil. Mercutio was mortally wounded and only a few minutes away from death, and they kind of have to make a really bad choice. Melody,
as you do.
Yeah, Melody gives her life in order to allow Mercutio to drain her dry, allowing him to skirt death and become something stronger than before. Melody's left on the brink of death, however, kind of only held together by Neil and Arden helping her out. Isaac's gang arrives in order to help everyone and stop this madness tonight. And they kind of have a little bit of interesting conversation with Neil, and kind of backing up Isaac as, like, you know, that's their true friend, as Neil kind of argues whether about Isaac has the best intentions at heart. Isaac rushes to complete the ritual of Neil going to the cave to stop the killer, because that's where they believe the ritual will be taking place, from fully unleashing the dark entity. Isaac and Ivy meet up with Astoria Gray, who kind of reveals and laments it was because of her resources that the group managed to get themselves into the situation in the first place.
Such an enabler.
Yeah, and you know what?
Enabling teachers.
Cool professors aren't always cool, just saying. Especially when they cause you to release a murderous creature and kills a bunch of your friends.
You know, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Not the best.
I thought my high school, or my college experience was wild. However, in a twist of fate, we found out that Nikki hasn't died, actually, and has been sheltered in the library from the dark entity, where Astoria Gray has kind of made a stronghold. She tells them all that, hey, get all your friends, bring them to the library, and they can defend themselves from here. But that's no way to stop the killer. Arden and Isaac find Victoria, who's attempting to kill Samir in order to take his vial of Yone's blood. Victoria wanting it to use it in order to basically keep herself safe from the dark enemy, being the last one alive. Mercutio arrives, though, in a twist of fate, a plot twist that Victoria does not see going, and rips into Victoria, ultimately beheading her and neutralizing her as a threat. Neil, walking into the cave, finds Kaya, who reveals herself to be the killer, but most importantly reveals herself to once be that itself is a double blind, as they realize that it's only Kaya's form that's been taken, and the true killer behind it is the once thought late Fae, Yone, who faked his own death and attempted to move around unobstructed and harness the dark entity into himself. Yone gains the power of the dark entity as Isaac and specifically Isaac and Melody go into the Fey realm and kind of finally finish their deal to Melchior, as Victoria is sent away to the Fey realm to complete her debts once and for all. Just her head, though. Her body somewhere. They don't know. I think they threw it out.
It's fine.
And vampires
need part of it.
She's around still. And
I never even thought of that.
I know. That's fucking wild.
Yeah.
As Victoria is finally taken for her debts and Yone gains ultimate power, we set ourselves up for the big last 2 episodes, and that so ends Chapter 8, Burn the Witch. Chapter 9 opens up, and our group is all together. They're visited by the good old emissary, this little child who seems to call herself Ivy Superior, and basically is like, hey, if you don't stop Yone, everyone's gonna die here. Not only are the Fey realm converging into one with the realm of the mortals, but also the realm of the dead. The group has to basically move through facing their greatest fears once more, evolving as people and kind of having to confront the worst parts about themselves. Something that happens that unfortunately goes down is they do find Samir. Arden and Ivy do anyway. Arden believing that killing Samir will kind of put things right, and that using their powers as the Oracle, they might be able to get one up on Yone. But then kind of Ivy has a choice, either to, you know, go along with the flow of someone that was their friend and taking the easy way out, or protecting Samir even against your greatest allies. And in the altercation, unfortunately, Arden is mortally injured. Ivy unlocking her power as a Reaper finally puts down the worm, and Arden passes on from this place. And this time, there is no do-overs. As people move about, Neil as well as Isaac realize what they need to be doing. They need to be strong. They need to be together. Isaac kind of slips in and out, nowhere to be found, unfortunately. And soon is revealed that has been brainwashed or allied himself with Yone. But this is actually revealed to be a long ploy as the entire group converges on one, specifically Melody, Ivy, and Isaac going to take out Yone. Neil, on the other hand, continues to search for Samir, because at the end of the day, Samir is worth more than the world itself. Were those gunshots I heard in the background? Leslie, are you okay?
They're not gunshots. I'm pretty sure it's fireworks. Happy Labor Day, everyone.
Happy Labor Day,
in the US.
everyone.
Yeah, happy Labor Day.
Shout out to everyone that had to work today. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry you had to work today.
Yeah.
That's such a bummer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's fireworks.
Hopefully.
I don't think it's gunshots. Normally that sound is fireworks.
We have one final showdown with Yone very easily overwhelming Melody and Ivy, but thanks to the wishful thinking of Isaac, as well as the beginning of the episode, you know, of 8 giving Ivy that weapon, they are finally able to hold up not only Yone, but able to end the threat once and for all and take Yone's head off with the special blade of cold iron that Isaac bestowed upon to Ivy. And the madness ends with Yone dead, but as well as Arden, and peace finally falls onto the Academy. And so ends episode 9, or chapter 9, The Greatest Trick. The final chapter is sort of a wrap up of search. We kind of examine everyone at the end of the term. Things begin to kind of tie themselves up in a nice little bow, as it were. The memorial happens. We see that the people affected by this incident are not really doing so hot. You know, Neil seems to be doing all right with Samir. Isaac finally learns to let go, and Ivy realizes that there's more to the world than Gehenna Academy, and that she has to accept herself as her own powers. Not only that, Melody's kind of riding high on cloud 9 as well. You know, not only did she save her true love and realize that she does love him, but, you know, sometimes relationships are made to do well. Or so we think. As everyone is pretty much sworn to silence by the Dean and another High Fae noble, who news of Yone being the prince and also the murderer would have soured relationships between the mortals and the Fae realm.
Gee, I don't know why that would have happened.
Yeah, so they
Not sure.
They basically decide, we're going to keep this all one big, huge secret. And that doesn't sit well, especially with Melody the Fae. It was not something that sat well with them. Of course, Melody speaks up, and we later find out that Melody has been exiled from the Fae realm. Her winter vacation of going and showing Mercutio her homeland, it's kind of set into ice as they decide to kind of trail around Gehenna Academy as well as Gehenna Valley. Ivy goes off to complete her training as a Reaper, and then Neil has a nice little conversation with Kaya as they kind of, lament over everything that happened, as well as if people can truly move on and reinvent themselves and let the past stay in the past. Neil becomes Neil no more and adopts his true name, Chun, and finally kind of moves past his trauma for the time being. Isaac has the ability to get the final ingredient and resurrect his dead girlfriend Amy, but decides not to, realizing that he loves Ivy, and not only that, he's a different person than what he knew Amy before. His gang is happy, they're ecstatic that Isaac has finally learned how to move on, how to move past trauma and move past loss and become their own person. And with it, Isaac gives up his mantle of being the queen. And that is just fucking wild. Isaac, realizing that they love Ivy, goes to Ivy to, progress and confess their love and finally start this relationship they've been teasing since episode 1. But Ivy is no longer there to be found, having departed for the realm of the dead. Time passes, and we see Melody kind of getting and meeting with some hidden fae as well as some interesting people that have just moved into town. A group known as Mantra. What they promise Melody, where she has lost a home and friendship and support, they can give her that and so much more, as well as a new purpose in life. And she hesitantly, but very interested, accepts. Being left in the school, Chun, kind of going around and enjoying his alone vacation, sees a naked person walking through the snow towards Gehenna Academy and meets the new addition, Amara. Amara doesn't have a past, has no memories, and seems to be a blank slate of a person. Chun, realizing that this might have, the right thing to do would be to set this person right, and maybe he can do what the Academy was supposed to do all along and foster people who are lost without the threat of something trying to murder them, decides to take Amara under their wing. And with all these setup and more, the last shot we get, the last thing we feel, is Samir getting one last prophecy of dark times to come. A lot of bad stuff happening in the first season of Gehenna Academy. A lot of terrible things, traumatizing things. Some people died, some people got into fights, some people got traumatized. But at the end of the day, it's all lost to the ice. And our characters that we met at the first episode have irreparably been changed by the 10th episode season and the end of it. And so ends season 1 of Gehenna Academy. And thank you for that raid, Elliot. You are amazing and we love you. And, we're about the end of our official content, but we still got a little bit of time left. And I have Leslie here. And Leslie, you are a big fan of Monsterhearts, are you not?
I am a big fan of Monsterhearts.
I would like to ask you a few questions and kind of get your perspective for the last 10 minutes of this mini stream. What do you think?
What do I think?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm very nervous for season 2. So when you brought up Mantra, so I was in the 2-episode Monsterhearts game with Mantra, and
intense.
It was very intense. It was pretty gory. Mantra was not. I won't say much, but Mantra was definitely a questionable organization. But maybe things have changed. It depends on where in the timeline this kind of falls.
Yeah, it should be interesting to say that Sylvester is around. Is the person that Melody meets at the very end.
I remember.
And Sylvester didn't have the best ending someone could have in the 2
I thought Sylvester had a pretty good ending.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
I enjoyed Sylvester's ending. Me personally. Well, not me personally. Tanner really enjoyed Sylvester's ending.
And maybe we'll get to see more of Tanner and a few other people. I won't spoil anything. I'm not gonna say anything because why not? It's a show. Watch season 2. Season 2 is gonna be fucking great. AKA we're gonna die. Chris says. Yep, that might be right. But whatever. We'll have fun doing it.
You might die. You definitely probably get in trouble. 100% gonna get in trouble. Definitely.
Yeah. Or worse, expelled. That was
like, is expelled worse than death, or is just
yes.
expelled worse than trouble? Okay, expelled is worse than death. Is that where we're putting this?
I think so.
Okay.
That's
okay.
shame. At least you're dead. You don't have to live with the shame at least. Now I want to ask you some general question. So Monsterhearts is very it's different in the hands of everyone, right? You know, I was saying this before in a tweet a couple days ago. You have your horror hearts, you have your drama hearts, you have your cute and cuddly hearts, but and that's the cool thing about Monsterhearts is it's all Monsterhearts, and any amalgamation of the three could be Monsterhearts. Whatever you make it, Monsterhearts is a building block. And as someone who's played a shit ton of Monsterhearts, because I know you have, what does Monsterhearts mean to you? What is different from any other system that keeps you coming back for more?
I think the thing I like the most about Monsterhearts is how flexible it is. Like, Monsterhearts is a system that you can kind of take the building blocks of and do what you want with it. You can set your Monsterhearts on a cruise ship, and you're all employees on a cruise ship, and it's the interworkings of being a crew and all working together, and the social interactions between that. There's just so many different things you can do with Monsterhearts. It's so flexible and lets you really tell your own story. I also like that it's mostly narrative based. I mean, as much as I love the dragon game, love me some D&D, not gonna lie. I don't want to crunch numbers all the time, and I don't want to constantly be in combat. So I like that Monsterhearts is more about social interaction and the intricacies of just talking to people, because sometimes that's the most fun I have with with TTRPGs is the actual role playing of relationships with people. So I mean, that's where I stand. I think Monsterhearts is incredibly flexible, and you can kind of throw whatever you want at it. If you want to be set in a school, you can do it. If you want to be set in a cruise ship, if you want to be set in a haunted house and be employees in a haunted house, I feel that all works. If you want to go to summer camp,
I love summer camp.
So I know you do. That's why I brought it up. I've actually never played a summer camp game.
Oh, whoa, that's one of the new settings and weird people and places. So definitely you can check out Camp Sparrow, which a few people out there have already played. And you know what? Maybe I'll run a game for you. I'm definitely the
always down
MC.
to play a Nick game. But yeah, I think that's my feelings on Monsterhearts. Is it's incredibly flexible, lets you kind of do what you want, which is I feel a lot of times you fall into D&D is this is fantasy, and you can kind of adapt D&D to everything, but trying to play D&D in a high school and it's well, there's combat. I'm no, I don't want to use 3/4 of this book because I don't want to be in combat in high school.
Yeah, who does that?
I mean, yeah, there's a difference between having a fist fight and then
bringing out the swords and critting someone.
Casting grease on the ground at your classmates? I don't know. The worst spell in D&D, in my opinion. Fight me on it. It's not good. It doesn't help.
I might be tooting my horn a little bit, but you said a Nick game. And, what in your mind, what is a Nick game? What is a Nick game entitled?
What is a Nick game? I think a Nick game is definitely you always have really detailed world building, and I feel you're also really good at you're a great world builder. You put so many details into the world and things that just other people probably wouldn't think of. You make a wholly realized world, and that's something I really I love world building. A lot of the tabletop games that I listen to have a lot of deep world building. You also are really good at turning things on their head. I don't know, I feel during the whole duration of Academy, I knew who the bad guy was, and the answer is no, I didn't. I never did. I never flipping had a clue who the actual bad person was. I was perpetually wrong, which is fine. I'm usually wrong with assumptions anyway, so I wasn't that surprised. But this one, I was no, I got this. No, never. Switched constantly and then was just perpetually wrong. So you tell a great narrative and build beautiful worlds. So I really appreciate that in a Nick game. You are definitely a GM craftsman of the finest quality. Highest quality?
I appreciate you so much. And as Glitch said, yeah, the book mentions the difference between violence and combat, and definitely it's the former more than the latter. Before we end the stream, I want to, there's if you want to look into more Monsterhearts, we actually did an entire, 3-hour video on deep diving into Monsterhearts, where we talked to Brian LeBurge, who was the original GM for Gehenna Valley, and what Monsterhearts meant to her. And it's amazing. Really, he breaks it down for you, what Monsterhearts is, and how you can use it, and really how it's kind of just about letting the reins go. So as we end this very special stream, I want to get off Monsterhearts for a second. I want to ask, Leslie, thank you for being my special guest. As I always say, you're one of my favorite people to have on here, and I want you to let everyone know, not only what you're doing in future promotions, but how have you been? How are you doing? How is Leslie Everett doing today?
I'm doing really well. Thank you for asking. I had the day off today, so I'm doing good. Have a couple of exciting things coming soon that I am very stoked for. Got some sick costume pieces in, is what I will say. Some very sick costume pieces. I have a new wig. We're very excited for some future projects coming, I believe, in January. Is the one that I'm talking about in particular.
Yes. I have no idea what you're talking about, but I'm going to keep talking in this inflection, assuming that I do.
Absolutely. How could you have a clue? But yeah, that's coming up. I'm very excited. I've been good, though. You can catch me every Tuesday hanging out on Carrying Comfort, doing Comfort Sickle. Usually start between 3 and 6. It depends on how many episodes of Life is Strange I need to get through. Because we're playing Life is Strange. Currently, I'm playing Life is Strange 2. I'm sorry, I play sad games. I play sad games and make popsicles, and then eat popsicles on stream. So always feel free to come hang out with me there. But there are some very cool TTRPG projects that I'm involved in that are coming up, and I will be very excited for you all to see them. But thanks again for having me, Nick. It's always a pleasure chatting with you.
No, definitely.
You're one of my favorite people.
Well, I think that's a good way. It's a good moment to wrap it all up. Thank you everyone for watching this very special ultra soft stream of Gehenna Academy. We did the season 1 recap. You're ready. You can watch the VOD later. We maybe got scattered a bit. Maybe I droned on a little bit too long for some things, but that's okay.
Never.
That's what's about live. Yeah, it's easy digestible. With this 1-hour video, you have all the information you need to go into Gehenna Academy Season 2 strong. That being said, you could still watch the whole playlist. It's on YouTube. Give it a watch. The cast is amazing. Seriously, I'm just an orchestra. I'm just the conductor. They're the true masterpieces of it. And Gehenna Academy wouldn't be anything without Reno, without Noor Ali, with Chantel, Chris, and Alyssa. They're fucking great. Jesus Christ, such a good cast.
Absolutely.
I love them all. We'll see you next Tuesday or next Monday, 7:30, right on the dot. Gehenna Academy Season 2. Bye, guys. How do you do this?
It's your thumb and your index finger. They're little hearts. Yeah, it's a little heart.
Oh, it's a little heart.
Yep, little heart. Night, everyone.